Hey guys, it's Metro, and today we're on part 2 of our little tutorial series for Soldier. In this episode we're going to talk about aiming and movement on hitscan heroes, especially Soldier, and why these two things are very connected with each other and why one relies on the other and vice versa. Okay, so if you have ever heard someone say, "Wow, I'm in plat and I have better aiming than you," you're probably a Twitch streamer and you should probably go look for another job. But in all seriousness, while that statement sounds pretty dumb, there is some truth to it, and we're going to go into why. It actually is way easier to track or aim at people in plat and below. When I did my placements on one of my 5 million accounts that I own nowadays, I got into a plat game and I was like, wow, my tracking is really good today. That was back in the day when I was barely GM on my main, but after a while I realized why it was so easy. You see, aiming is not only how precise you are with your mouse, it's a mix of a lot of things. And mostly it's your mouse and keyboard movement, which not only affect how fast you kill someone, but also how long you can stay alive during that time, right? So if you were invincible on your hero and you were allowed to stand completely still, like let's presume you are an invincible god, you cannot die, you have like 5 million HP. And if you would just use your mouse to track down an opponent and you wouldn't move at all, obviously you would have a way easier time than doing all of that while moving, while trying to stay alive, right? In those plat games that I had, the reason why my tracking felt so much better was not because I was playing better, but because the movement of my opponents were like way more predictable and linear than what I was used to go up against in GM. And also I had to worry less about dodging their attacks, because on average their aim was also worse than that of a GM. So those two factors played a big role in why the tracking felt easier. That's also one of the main reasons why I think aim trainers are only really good for warm-up, but not really for improving your tracking and flicking overall, or your aim. Like if you're gonna shoot targets that don't shoot back and move in a very mechanical way, it's never gonna be comparable to a real human being, no matter how well the bots are programmed to move, right? So there's a few things I do for overall like improvement of aim and reaction time. For warm-up, I can really recommend you a game named Osu. It's a free rhythm game, which relies on hand-eye coordination. In the game, you have to click on circles and follow patterns with your mouse at a fast pace. The difficulty level can be set all the way from Mercy main to average newbie like me, to Widow Trigger bot. This is going to help you improve your overall reaction time. You're going to get faster as you play the game more. And it's also going to improve your general accuracy with the mouse. For everything else, I still think the best way to improve is to grind a lot of comp in Overwatch. Since every hero in the game has a different hitbox, different movement patterns, nothing can really replace going up against a real human being and different hero comps, right? There's quite a few tricks that can help you improve your overall performance on hitscan heroes though. So for example, if you go up against another hero in an aim duel, and you're already on their head, and you notice them moving left or right, you can react with your keyboard instead your mouse. So if they go left, you don't move your mouse, and what you do instead is you just push down like your left button on your keyboard, for example A, and just follow their movement with your keyboard. That way your aim is not going to be thrown off by little inaccuracies of your mouse movement, which everyone is going to have, and your aiming is going to feel a bit more on point and a bit easier to execute. So hopefully you can stay on their head or at least their body. Another thing that really helps is jumping. A lot of people will tell you, well, I'm a gold player and I read on the forums that jumping is going to make your movement way more predictable, right? And yeah, that's kind of true, you know. You're gonna be more predictable while jumping yourself, but it's also gonna give you an easier time aiming at them. This is especially useful on heroes like Soldier, because as long as you hit your bullets against other like hitscan heroes, let's say a Widow or a McCree, the aim punch is gonna make it like pretty hard for them to hit shots on you. So as long as your aim is on point, you should be fine against. And that brings me to another point. The most important thing about aiming and movement in fights, other than the mechanical skill or the mechanical, like the muscle memory itself that you're gonna have, is knowing when to do what. So for example, if you sit on the high ground while being uncontested, you don't have to move a lot to dodge attacks if no one is shooting you, right? So you can focus more on making your mouse aiming as precise as possible. However, if you're contested, it's gonna make the whole story a bit different, right? In this clip, you can see me taking high ground, kind of on a flankish position. against that team to create some space for my team to move out. And you can see the Mei here, like trying to hit me, trying to shoot for me. And if you look at my aim and my general movement, I'm not really trying to kill them instantly. I'm more like focused on staying alive and creating the space for my team to actually move in. And the type of movement you're gonna do in those fights is gonna be really dependent on what hero compositions they have and what heroes are currently shooting you. So for example, you want to move way differently against the Mei, like in that clip, than for example, let's say a McCree. So for Mei here, so against a hero like Mei, like in the clip you see right now, you want to move way differently compared to a hero like McCree. I know Mei has a very slow projectile, so I want to be as unpredictable as possible because he's going to try to predict where I move next, right? That's the only way he hits his projectile. So what you can see me do in the clip is I alternate between ADing and then suddenly just standing still, like right before he starts to shoot his projectile. That way, he's still gonna think I'm gonna be in the movement, right? Towards the left or the right. But when I stand still, he's very likely gonna miss that projectile if he doesn't predict that movement. So against heroes like Mei, Hanzo, you wanna have very unpredictable and like broader movement. You wanna alternate between long AD movements and then suddenly stopping, because the projectile is always going to take some travel time. So you always want to keep in mind how the projectile could hit you. So what I like to do, for example, against a Hanzo is I move like left in a straight line, and shortly before I think he's going to release his arrow, I stop or I move all the way right. That way he's totally going to miss the prediction shot, right? I'm saying the word right way too much today. Anyways, against heroes like McCree or Ashe or Widow, it's a totally different story, right? They are hitscan. I said right again. What the fuck? Anyways, against hitscan heroes, they're gonna click on you exactly where you are when they're shooting. So you want to have very, very fast movement. So what I love to do against hitscan heroes is just spam AD crouch. That way, it's gonna be really, really hard for them to click on your head. They might hit body shots, but a headshot is going to be really hard. It's like if you spam AD very fast, there is no limit to how fast you can spam it. So if you make your movement very, very unpredictable in that sense, you're going to have an easier time fighting against them. So as I said, always keep in mind, it's not only about how much you hit them, it's also about how much they hit you. You want to stay alive while dealing damage to them. As long as you hit a few bullets on them, the aim punch is going to distract them, and you will win the 1v1. If you just stand still, of course you're gonna have better aim, right? But they're also gonna have better aim on you, and the burst on a Widow, they're gonna one-click you, on Ashe they're gonna two-tap you, and on McCree 2 or 3-tap, and then you're gonna cry, you're gonna sit there like, my aim is super good, why can I not like kill him faster than he kills me? Well, it's because they only need to hit like 2 bullets, while you on Soldier need to hit like quite a few. But you have more sustain, and you can also move way faster than they can. So that's the kind of thought process you want to have against every single hero in the game. It's easier for some heroes, like for example, if you go up against a Reinhardt and you're on even ground, the only thing he can really hit you with, if he's like far away from you, is Fire Strike. So keep in mind, you can kinda not move a lot, focus on aiming, but if he has Fire Strike up, be ready to dodge it. Against a hero like Zarya, you want to jump a bit more. The biggest source of damage he has against you is a right click, and that's pretty dodgeable with a jump on medium distance, so you want to jump more. While against, like, in general, projectile heroes like Mei, Hanzo, Lucio, even Genji, you want to have very, I don't want to say slow, but very predictable movements, in the sense that you move to the left or the right for a bit, and then shortly before they shoot their projectiles, you want to change direction or just stand still for a second, and it's going to be likelier for them to miss the projectile, because they're still in the prediction stage where they think you're going to move left or right, so they're going to shoot a bit to the right or the left. And again, against hitscan, AD spamming, crouch spamming is your friend. You want to be as fast as possible, as unpredictable as possible. Do never ever walk in a straight line or strafe to the left or right in a straight line against a hitscan. You're gonna die in half a second and then you're gonna cry. Again, I can't stress enough how important movement is compared to something like aiming. I really think a lot of lower level players, let's say plat and below, have really decent mechanics in terms of aiming, but their movement is lacking so far behind that it's really easy to kill them. And if you improve on your movement while working on your aim, instead of just focusing on your aim, you're gonna improve way faster than someone who's just like sitting there all day on an aim trainer having insane aim. But as soon as they get into a real game, they just stand still against the Hanzo, get a headshot, or they just die against whatever, a random shot of a random projectile, and then they sit there like, my aim is really good, but I can't climb. Why is that? Movement. Movement, super important. For mouse sense or general DPI settings, I really recommend you try out what works best for you. Some heroes like Tracer and Genji really profit from very fast sensitivity, very high sensitivity, because you want to do 180s or even 360s as fast as possible, while heroes like Soldier are on the slower side. But I really think the main factor in determining your DPI setting is yourself. Some people are really confident on high sense and they wouldn't be able to play low sense whatsoever, and some people are really, really good at low sense. They just like throw their keyboard over the like mouse pad, and they're still really precise and really fast with the slow movement. So try out different settings and see what works best for you. Don't go into the fan stream or any other people, like any other person's stream, and copy their setting and then wonder why it doesn't work for you. All of the pro players in Overwatch League use different settings. If you compare different settings, some people use really high sense, some people use really low sense. In the end, it's what works best for you as an individual. I know we all have people we look up to, role models, but only use that as reference. Don't use it as God's advice and copy it one-to-one and then wonder why you're not improving. There's so many more things I could say about the matter, but I don't want to make the video too long, so we're going to cut it short here. Next week, we're going to have a video on positioning and a general game sense on Hitscan heroes, especially Soldier. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to post them in the comments. I'll try to answer them next video. And I hope you found this useful. And I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching. Shameless plug, Twitch TV/Metro. I'm live every day. If you want to see live gameplay, if you have any questions, if you just want to say hi, come by. I appreciate everyone tuning in. And I'll see you.